There's a kind of pain no one talks about. The quiet kind. The one that shows up late at night, when you've done everything you were supposed to do, but still feel like something is missing. It's not a sharp pain, it's dull, persistent. A low-frequency hum of not enough that follows you wherever you go. You wake up early, you work hard, you try to be better. You consume content that tells you how to level up, how to be more confident, more productive, more successful. You nod your head, you understand the ideas, you apply them, and yet you still feel like a fraud in your own life. Because deep down you're exhausted from performing, from wearing a mask that was never truly yours. You were taught to chase certain things: money, muscles, status, validation, and told they'd bring you peace. But they don't. They just give you more things to hide behind. And what do you do when none of that works? You get quiet. You scroll endlessly. You distract yourself. You pretend you're not lost, because you've been told that men who are lost are weak. But here's the truth: being lost is human. It means you're finally realizing that the map you were given doesn't lead you home. Most men walk around carrying invisible wounds, father wounds, shame wounds, the pressure to provide, the fear of not being enough. The silence around our emotions has turned us into experts at pretending. You laugh when you should cry. You say I'm fine when you're breaking inside. You go to work, hit the gym, smile for the world, and collapse when you're alone. And the tragedy is no one sees it, because no one's looking. Or maybe you just stopped believing anyone would care enough to ask. But what if your pain wasn't something to hide? What if it was a compass? What if every feeling of failure was simply a redirection, not away from life, but toward a truer version of it? You've been trained to conquer, to grind, to push harder. But healing isn't about force. Healing is about slowing down long enough to hear yourself think, long enough to feel what you've been avoiding. That sadness? It's a signal. That anger? It's a boundary screaming to be heard. That numbness? It's your spirit asking, when will I matter to you? Maybe you weren't meant to be perfect. Maybe you were meant to be real. And real men cry. Real men rest. Real men feel. Not because they're broken, but because they're brave enough to stop pretending. You've spent your life trying to be impressive, but have you ever tried being honest? Not with the world, with yourself. To sit in front of your own mirror and say, I don't know who I am anymore. That's not weakness. That's the first step to remembering. You're not too late. You're not behind. You're just waking up. And waking up hurts, because you begin to see all the ways you've abandoned yourself in order to be liked, accepted, praised. You weren't living, you were surviving. But there's a version of you that doesn't need to perform. A version that doesn't chase love, but creates it. That doesn't beg for validation, but carries self-respect. That doesn't ask who should I be, but dares to answer who am I really. That version of you is already here. It's underneath the layers, beneath the overthinking, the pressure, the fear, and all it wants is for you to listen. So take the pressure off, drop the expectations, sit with yourself even if it's uncomfortable, because the man who is willing to sit in his own silence will always hear the truth louder than the noise of the world. This is your moment, not to rise through force, but to return through honesty. You don't need to prove anything. You don't need to win. You just need to come home to yourself. And once you do, everything changes. Not overnight, but slowly, gently you begin to rebuild. Not the man the world told you to be, but the man you were always meant to become. And that is more than enough.